That one comes in low. It's 2-2. A 2-2 count with 2 outs here in the first. As Doyle at the plate. She went 2 for 4 in game 1. And she's got a hit to the left side. That'll plate another one. They're going to send the runner home. Not fielded cleanly in time by Basilio. And 2 runs will come home for Becca Doyle on her RBI single. Ward came home. Brisk came home. And it's 3-0. George Fox up early in this one. We saw similar things happen in yesterday's doubleheader between these two teams as it's a 1-0 count to Hillary Brodus. Yesterday in the doubleheader, the first game, a bit more of a defensive battle out there on the field as the score was a little bit lower. In the second game, the runs started coming aplenty as both teams combined for, I believe it was 25 runs in the second game yesterday. Game 2 yesterday, it was 14-11. Lewis and Clark finished up on top of George Fox in that one. In the first game, it was 3-2. So 5 runs in the first game, 25 in the second. Here in the doubleheader today, we saw a 9-2 finish in the first game, so 11 runs there. You can only imagine if yesterday's games were any indication, what could this second game end up like? As right now, it's 3-0. George Fox on top in the first. Second pitch to Brodus comes across for a strike after a lengthy conference on the mound between the Lewis and Clark coaching staff and Natalie Rose. Mandy Hill went out there to give a bit of a pep talk. That one seems to have worked as it's now a 1-2 count after the conference, 2 straight strikes. Both of them were looking. Brodus wears the face mask on her helmet. She's going to try and stay in this one, but she offers it strike 3 and cannot find the ball. She goes down swinging, and Natalie Rose gets 2 strikeouts in the inning. But George Fox gets on top with 3 runs in the top of the first. We'll come back with the home half of the first inning here in the second game of our doubleheader. Lewis and Clark and George Fox squaring off. The Bruins on top, 3-0 here on PioStream. It's the bottom of the first. Lewis and Clark and George Fox squaring off the second game of today's doubleheader. Taking a look at the batting order for the Pioneers. You've got Moon, Basilio, and Devin Cinzi starting things off here in this inning. Lewis and Clark got 2 runs in their last game, the first of the doubleheader. And that was on a home run from Michaela Statter towards the end of the game, I believe in the 6th. And so it looked like maybe Lewis and Clark started to find their bats towards the end of that one. Maybe they can continue that into this one. They're down 3-0 here early on in the matchup. Jamie Moon, one of the few seniors on this Pioneer squad here on Senior Day, and she'll lead things off with a single, much like she did in the first game. Takes the first pitch, drives it to left field, and she's on with a single. In fact, looking back at the box score, it looks like that's exactly how things started out in the first contest. A single to left field by Moon. She eventually made her way to third, but couldn't get any further as the Pioneers would go down. Up next, Caitlin Basilio. She'll bunt, try and move things around, but that one just dies in foul territory. In fact, just sat in the left-handed box. Just hit the dirt, didn't go any further. It's 0-1. Basilio playing left field today. And you see her numbers there from coming into today's doubleheader. Shows bunt again. That one bounced. You know, I almost thought that one might not have even hit the bat of Caitlin Basilio, but must have gotten a piece of it as it hit the dirt and then bounced up into her bat as she was showing bunt, trying to get the sack. With a runner on first, get a little pitch and catch between the catcher, Hillary Brodus. May have gotten dinged a little bit on that one on the foul ball. Go ahead and take a quick look at the defensive starters for George Fox here. You see Brodus behind the dish, Davidson, Doyle, Chris, and Ward in the infield. Then you have Chavez, Trindle, and Brisky in the outfielder. The pitcher for George Fox today, Alyssa Dendecker, here in the second game. That one on the outside of the plate gets fouled into foul territory right behind us. And hanging in there on an 0-2 count is Basilio. Mentioned Dendecker. She's a freshman righty. She throws in ball one of the at-bat. First ball pitched by Dendecker. First one actually recorded, I guess. She's thrown a few out of the zone, but they've resulted in foul balls. That one is a liner right up the middle. Should be an easy play for second, but no. It was a slow roller for Doyle. Out at second. She looked to maybe try and make the pitch to second just in time to get Moon moving over to second. But I'm not sure if she was maybe trying to make sure that she wasn't in the way of the runner or what. Just took her eye off the grounder. But it'll be an error that gets Basilio on base. So Moon's on second, Basilio on first, and it's Caroline DiVincenzi who will pop one out to left. That one's got some distance on it as it makes it over the fence, but it was just to the left of the foul pole. DiVincenzi finished out the end of the first game with 2 straight strikeouts swinging. Saw her around the buffet table at the break of the games as we had a nice little picnic kind of going on during the break between the two games. She seemed frustrated. I would imagine so. As a hitter, you don't like to go down swinging. It's 1-1 after an off-speed pitch hung just outside the plate. Caroline looks at 1-1, comes in, out of the zone. 2-1. For the diminutive shortstop. Heard reports that the dugout for George Fox commenting on the size of the shortstop, but she's got some power behind her. Ropes that one to right field, could be over the head. It is! And to the warning track. DiVincenzi's going to get an RBI here as that one will go to right field for a double. Playing a bit shallow was Brisky, and it looked like the base runners weren't quite sure if they should continue on, as it looked like that one was going to hang in the air long enough for Brisky to get underneath it, but she just misjudged, and it goes over her head, rolls to the wall, and because of the slight delay on the base pass, the Pioneers only get one out of that one, but DiVincenzi will start off with a double and an RBI as she'll plate Moon from second, and Basilio will go to third. Almost looked like the ball hit all the way to the wall, wouldn't even get DiVincenzi to second base. Because of the slow running on the base pass, she had to hold up and wait for the base to clear, and she finally got out there. Second and third for the Pioneers. And Relia Up to the plate. She pops one to the backstop, and it's made. The grab is made by the catcher, Brodus. And now one out in the first. That was the 25th RBI on the season for Caroline, who stands out at second with her 19th extra base hit on the season. Relia popped out in foul territory to the catcher, and it's one down. Jet Mullins, the designated player, will stand in, and she's to an 0-1 count, swinging on the first pitch. Again, you've got Caitlin Basilio at third and Caroline DiVincenzi at second. Little roller, slow to the third base side, will not be played in time, and the infield single gets Mullen to first and loads the bases for the Pioneers. Mentioned we saw a lot of runs in the second game of a doubleheader yesterday between these two teams. Looks like we could have a bit of an offensive showing here in the second game as well, as Lewis and Clark's put together 3 hits. They've got the bases loaded and only 1 out. And now Michaela Satter, who hit a 2-run shot in the first game, comes up to bat, fouls one directly back at us. Count, bases loaded. Dendecker fires a curveball that's in the dirt, going from third. And Basilio will slide in safe. No attempt at making the play at home, as that curveball hit the dirt, took a nasty spin away from Brodus and went all the way to the backstop. The wild pitch makes it 3-2. Lewis and Clark climbing back into this one. All the runners advance, so it's second and third for the Pioneers. 1-1 count to Sater. Dendecker found herself in trouble early. She delivers one, and swinging through it was Sater. Satter. Third baseman for the Pioneers. She's got a 1-2 count. She'll swing at that one and send it right back up the middle. That'll bring in another 2. Play at the plate, not in time. Another 2 RBI hit for Michaela Satter. She gets a single, and the runs continue to pour in for the Pioneers. Mullins and DiVincenzi come home to score, and now there's a runner on first. Still only 1 out here in the top of the first. The pitcher, Natalie Rose, comes in to try and help herself out. The Westland product. Rose stands in there, shows bunt, swings right through the first strike of her at-bat. Molly Donahue, another senior on this roster, on deck. Fly ball out to center is an easy out for the Bruins. And now 2 down. The Pioneers have the lead 4-3 here in the first inning. A lot of offense coming in so far. Molly Donahue, the first baseman for the Pioneers, stands in and sees the first one come across out of the strike zone, high and away. Chance of Molly from the dugout down the first base line. The pitch, grounded off her front foot, and that will take a second to shake off. Always a painful spot to get hit, or on that front foot, the one you plant on. Get a bit of a stinger. Laughs with you when you plant that front foot to take a swing. You can always definitely feel a little bit of that Payne sticking around. The pitch, the off speed is outside. It's 2-1 to Donahue. Outfield playing deep, not looking to let anything over their head. Donahue squats, hits that one over the right side towards the batting cages in foul territory in the right field area. It's 2-2. 2 outs here in the home half of the first. 4 hits so far on the board for the Pioneers. That one going to be low. They're going for second, and they'll call him safe. It's Satter stealing second base. Throw seemed to be on target, but just wasn't quite in time. If you're being nitpicky, maybe just a bit towards the first base side of second for catcher Brodus. Here comes the 3-2, and it's a walk to first for Donahue. And now runners on first and second once again for the Pioneers. Lewis and Clark going to make their way all the way through their lineup here. As we get to the 9-hitter, new in the lineup for the second game, Taylor Gotti playing center field. Gotti, the lefty, leans over the plate and is going to bloop one to left, and that's going to drop. It's going to plate another run. The throw to home is wide and not in time. And in her first at-bat, Gotti will pick up an RBI single. The blooper that just kind of curved from the middle of the field over to that left field side makes it a 5-3 lead for the Pioneers here in the bottom of the first. Showing drawing in third base is the leadoff hitter Moon, up for the second time here in the first inning. With Satter coming all the way in to score, we've got Gotti at first and Donahue at second. A 2-0 count to Moon, who's now in the game, seen a total of 3 pitches, but she has a single and scored a run in her first at-bat. She takes a cut at that one and sends it foul. 2-1. Moon really sets up with a wide open stance. Back foot firmly planted in the back of the box, but the front left foot stands on the chalk, marking the outside of the right-handed batter's box. 2-2 count as Moon watches number 2 come across, basically facing the pitcher Dendecker. As the windup comes, she squares away, and then she'll send it to second. That one is a nice one-hopper that's easily grabbed and put out at first by Doyle. But the damage has been done. Lewis and Clark gets 5 on the board here in the first, off a total of 5 hits and 1 runner left on base. 2 runners left on base with 1 error there in the bottom of the first inning. Lewis and Clark gets on top of this one, and they're up 5-3 against George Fox. When we come back, it'll be the top of the second, and George Fox will send to the plate 9-1-2 when we return. You're listening to Softball here on PioStream. Conference on the mound for the Pioneers as they lead this one 5-3. Picking up a bunch of hits in that bottom half of the first inning and getting the first lead of the day for the Pioneers. Felisa Chavez will lead things off for George Fox. She takes ball one. On the mound, Natalie Rose now has a bit of a cushion, but definitely does not want to let up as it's still early on in this game. We're only in the top of the second. That one comes in high, but is tipped over the backstop and near the stands on the third base side. Just cleared him. Rolled to the parking lot. 1-1 to Chavez. Chavez, the lefty, takes a wide stance. She'll take a hack at that one and sharply send it to right field. And she's on to lead off the inning with a single. Back-to-back lefties face against Natalie Rose, the righty. As we're back to the top of the lineup, and Nicole Renteria, who grounded out in her first at-bat, will have a second try. She takes the running swing at the first pitch offered and flies it out center field. So for two straight innings, Renteria has been the first out for the Bruins. And now Christina Trindle will step into the left-handed batter box again. Three straight lefties for the Bruins. She takes the running swing as well. That one's going to be shallow right field, but making a great over-the-shoulder catch is Jamie Moon, the senior. Makes the run to shallow right field and makes an amazing grab to steal a base hit away from the Bruins. That's always the tough play as you make the transition from the infield dirt to the outfield grass as you're tracking the ball and trying to pull it in over your shoulder for an infielder. That's a tough play. Moon makes it like a pro. 2 down here in the second. Runner on first for the Bruins, and Bethany Chris is up to bat. She saw a ball come across, but she sends that one high, deep, and it's over the fence. And with one swing of the bat, George Fox is right back in this one, and they've tied it up at 5. The first inning, it was a hit by pitch. The second inning, it's a home run. Chris has now scored twice in this game, and she has tied things up with a 2-run homer over the left center fence. Chavez, also the beneficiary of that, getting around from first to score. 2 out, 2-run home run for the Bruins. Kayla Ward is quickly to a favorable count with the 2-0. Base is now cleared. The pitch just on the outside of the plate for a strike. It's 2-1 to Ward. You see our umpires, or the Blues out there, wearing the short sleeves as they've made the transition. As a ball hit to right field will continue the inning for the Bruins. It'll be the second base hit for Ward. Sun has been shining. If you get a period without much rain, or excuse me, not much rain, without much wind, it's actually not too shabby out there, but temperatures are still a bit cool. But it is nice to have the sun shining. First pitch comes to strike to Brisky. You might be able to guess from the little slip in that last sentence I had said that the rain has been around a lot lately here in the Portland area, so it's nice to have some dry days. That one's offered out to foul territory, and it'll be in the parking lot. You can see one of the Lewis and Clark players out there over in left center, maybe looking for that home run ball that was just hit by Bethany Chris. It's 5-5. Risk sends another one into foul territory. 1-2 count. Megan Andre, that's who I thought it was. Looks like she might come back empty-handed after that trek out to the outfield. Oh, she's still looking. Oh, maybe she's got one in her hand. She might be looking for more. 1-2 pitch to Brisky. Pops straight up in the air. It's coming right back to us. Holy eminently. That one almost landed right here in the press box. Close one. Almost getting Brisky looking. Gotta figure things out after that one. That one I thought landed right off the windowsill here. I could be wrong. I'm not sure, but it definitely sounded like it was close. Brisky hits a towering fly ball to right field. And getting underneath it, Ralia will finish out the inning, but more runs come in for the Bruins as they tie things up here in the second. It's 5-all in the second game of the doubleheader. George Fox gets 2 hits, 2 runs on the inning, and they leave one runner stranded on base. No errors for the Pioneers as we go to the bottom half of the second. We'll be back. The game is tied at 5-all here on PioStream. George Fox ties it back up, and the top half of the inning, Lewis and Clark will look to add to their 5 runs on the board here in the bottom of the second. As we make our way through the second time through the lineup, Caitlin Basilio got on an error in the first and came around to score. She is our leadoff hitter here in the second. Fouled one off for strike one. Dindecker will deliver. Second pitch hit to deep left field, and that one is gone. A home run, a solo shot for Caitlin Basilio. Gives her a round tripper, and the lead is back to the Pioneers. I'm not sure if they switched the balls out at the break, but this one is turning into a slugfest. As it's 6-5. Lewis and Clark retakes the lead. In the bottom of the second, that's her first home run on the season for Basilio. A freshman gets the first one. You got to get that one. That's a souvenir ball right there. I could see it through the fence. Shouldn't be hard for someone to track that one down. Basilio, way to go to get the home run ball over deep left center field to retake the lead. Caitlin DeFincenzi got the power to send one over the fence, too. She'll ground it to third. Hustles her way down to first, but does not beat the throw. She'll be the first out of the inning. Basilio has got to be pretty pumped about that one. Get her first home run in front of the home crowd in the last game of the year. Up next, Caitlin Ralia sends one into foul territory. So far on the day, 2 home runs in this game. It's the third one we've seen go over the fence in the doubleheader so far, but 2 home runs. We're only in the second inning. Pitch from Dendecker, off-speed pitch, catches the black on the outside of the plate. Aurelia's at 0-2. The pitch well outside, 1-2 to the right fielder. Aurelia in the first game went 0 for 3, so she's trying to make up for it. She flew out to the catcher on the first pitch in her first at-bat. She puts another pop-up, gets just underneath it, sends it into foul territory, but not a Bruin able to get there in time to catch that one. So we'll come back to do it again at 1-2. Aurelia was not pleased when the ball was popped up and almost caught a bit of the fence, but it just came down right along the fence at the backstop, and Brodus was there to be able to just make the basket catch. This one's going to be blooped over the head at second, and it will be the first base hit for Aurelia on the day. Caitlin able to find an open spot just over the outstretched glove of second baseman Becca Doyle. And that'll be another base runner for the Pioneers. Alyssa Van Decker. Look like a bracelet or watch, it looks like, actually, on the arm of Jet Mullins, being asked to be taken off by home plate umpire. That one is fouled into the backstop. At home plate, I believe we've switched things up out in the field. So it looks like we probably have Frank Schofield behind the plate in the second game of the day, and Art Coral out in the field for our officiating crew. That one's chopped over to the visitors' dugout for another foul ball, and it remains at 0-2 for Jet. Only one out still here in the bottom of the second with a runner on for the Pioneers. That one comes in high. Aurelia stands at first. Pioneers already have a solo shot from Basilio to lead off the inning, and it's the second time through the order here in the bottom of the second. Excuse me, second time through the order in the game. Don't want to confuse it, but it's only the bottom of the second, and the Pioneers are already getting their second at-bats. 2-2 to Mullins, the designated player. The delivery from Dendecker. Low. And working her way back to a full count is Mullins. Patiently waiting on deck is Satter. Satter had a home run in the first game. Pitch comes in, fouled off the screen. Mullins is getting her money's worth at the plate in this at-bat. She's fouled off a number of pitches to remain alive with 2 strikes. Full count pitch. That one once again fouled off. It's a good thing they haven't been sending Aurelia at first to try and steal. She'd be exhausted from running from back and forth. She stands at first. One out here in the second. The pitch from Dendecker, swing and a miss. And the first strikeout of the game for Alyssa Dendecker. There are now 2 down for the Pioneers, and Michaela Satter, who got a single in the first, as well as 2 RBI. will step in. That pitch comes in high to Mac-Attack, being chanted by the dugout. Mac-a what? Mac-Attack. And he's 1 for 1 with a single. Is Satter. Dendecker pitches. That one in for a strike. Caught quite a bit of the plate, but no offer from Michaela. That one ends up in the dirt right in front of Brodus, who will do a scoop and keep it in front of her and hold on Relia at first. 2-1 to Satter. Pitcher Natalie Rose on deck, looking to get a chance to try and help herself out if they can here in this inning. 2-1 turns to 2-2, and with 2 outs, it's a critical pitch here for Dendecker. A strike will keep her team within 1 run as we go to the third. Step back, wind, and deliver, and that one was high, but offered at by Satter. Will just ricochet off the roof of the home dugout and out of play. So we'll do 2-2 again. That one's going to get hit to center field. Charging in and charging out. An amazing grab by second baseman Becca Doyle to finish out the inning. I thought it was going to be a play for Christina Trindle in center field, but making a full extension dive, Becca Doyle makes the final out of the inning and sends Lewis and Clark back out to the defensive side. They get 1 run on 2 hits in the inning. Do the Pioneers. They leave 1 runner stranded on base. No errors in the bottom half of the inning for the Bruins. When we come back, it's a 6-5 game. Lewis and Clark back on top over the Bruins here on PioStream. It's the top of the third. Lewis and Clark's on top, 6-5. It has been nothing but offense to start this one out. The only zeros on the board are indicating there's no strikes, no balls, and no outs here in the top of the third as we get things underway with a first pitch ball to Keeran Davidson, the first baseman for the Bruins. Guess there is one more zero up there. No errors on the day as that one comes right back at us here and into the backstop. No errors so far on the day for the Pioneers, so that's the only other zero on the board if you're really looking at it. Natalie Rose on the mound. She's got a 1-1 count, sends the ball in high to Davidson, who walked in her first at-bat. The bases were loaded at the time, so she picks up the RBI with the walk. That one comes in around the knees and hit into foul territory over on the right side. 2-2. George Fox started things out with 3 in the top of the first. Lewis and Clark answered with 5 in the bottom of the first. But coming right back at it, George Fox would get 2 in the top of the second. They're trying to get some more here. Diving from second base, Jamie Moon, outstretched, couldn't equal the diving play by second baseman Becca Doyle to finish out the last half inning. But it was nonetheless looked good. She got close, but still a foul ball, so not much damage done after the attempt. This one's going to be offered to center field, making one quick adjustment. Taylor Gotti looked at first, she charged in, then thought maybe she needed to go back, but then realized that one was dropping faster than it may have really looked. She can't make a couple more steps in, and Gotti will make the first out on the fly out to center field. So George Fox even things up in the top half of the second at 5-all, but then Lewis and Clark gets one more on the solo shot, first of the year for Caitlin Basilio in the bottom of the second, and it is all at 6-5 at the moment. Becca Doyle goes to a 1-1 count after fouling one off. Doyle had a single back in the first and got 2 RBI from that. Right-hander leans well over the plate. Cocks back, fires to left field, and that one's going to drop in for a hit. Quickly back into the infield with the ball, but it's a base knock on the single for Doyle, and Becca continues looking good. She's got 2 hits on the day, and she's got one fantastic play out in the field. Might have followed up her diving play to end the last inning with a da-da-da, da-da-da. Might see that on Web Gems tonight, huh? Amazing grab for the second baseman. We go now to Hillary Brodus, the catcher. Brodus struck out in her first at-bat. She will not offer it the first pitch off the plate. That one's going to be grounded down the third base line and into foul territory. I guess da-da-da, would have been a top play. If you want a web gem, it's more da-da-da, right? Something like that? I think that's how it goes. Somebody once yelled that out in a rec game I was in. Some guy made a great play. I thought that was hilarious. 1-1 pitch. Comes in for a ball, 2-1. Brodus. 1 out with a runner on first for the Bruins. That one just misses the upper parts of the zone, and it's 3-1 for the catcher. The pitch from Rose will miss, and Rose will put another runner on for first and second. 1 out at the top of the third. Felisa Chavez will come to the plate, and with that, George Foxes will be completing their second time through their lineup. Chavez, back in the second, was the leadoff hitter and started things out with a single. Her first pitch comes low and outside. Doyle's at second, Brodus at first. Not offering at the high breaking ball. It's 2-0. Chavez apparently goes by Fee. She's the freshman lefty. The bottom of the lineup, she sees a strike. You could almost say that she starts out, if you can get back to the top of the lineup, the first of 3 straight lefties for the Bruins. The pitch outside, it's 3-1. And once again, Rose finds herself having trouble getting outs. She had 2 quick ones in the first, but then gave up 3 runs. Now she moves to a full count with Chavez on the strike that Chavez thought might have been outside the zone. In the second, Rose gave up the hit to Chavez, but then got 2 outs, but then had troubles getting the third and gave up another 2 runs. This one's going to be a ground ball down the third base line, but they're going to call it foul. That one was hard hit, but ends up just getting grabbed by Satter on the third base line just slightly in foul territory. So after all the commotion, it ends up just coming back and redoing the next pitch. Full count with one out to the 9-hitter Chavez. She'll send a chopper out to short. DiVincenzi sends it to first, and the throw is offline. Goes to the fence. And on what we'd call, I guess, the throwing error from DiVincenzi, it allows Doyle to come all the way from second and cross the plate and once again tie up this game. Chavez gets on safe due to the error and stays at first, while Brodus, who had been at first, advances on the throwing error all the way from first to third. So after a quick conference, the Pioneers will try and settle themselves down. It really should be runners at second and third with 2 outs, but instead it's runners at first and third. A run has come in to tie the game, and there's still only 1 out. Back to the top of the lineup, Renteria will get up for the third time in as many innings. And she swings at the first pitch and is 0-1. Another lefty for the Bruins. And Renteria will send a high pop fly to center field, which is easily grabbed by Gotti and sent back in to hold the runner at third. And we've got 2 outs. So no one advances on the bases for the Bruins on the pop out. And still first and third now with 2 outs. Renteria is still 0 for 3 on the day. Trindle gets up. She'll slap it to the right side. And making the running grab, the second baseman Jamie Moon will make the third out of the inning. Once again, we finished the top half of the inning, and the Bruins are tied with the Pioneers. That's 6-all, and the Pioneers will try and get the lead back when we come back with the bottom of the third, as you're listening to Softball here on PioStream. We come back. It's the bottom of the third. Lewis and Clark tied up with George Fox. And Rose, Natalie, up to bat. She will get her first hit of the day. She sends one down the third base side, and it finds its way for a single. Rose, the starting pitcher, will get on. And once again, it's the second straight inning that Lewis and Clark has found themselves tied with George Fox. And they will try to get it back like they did in the bottom half of the second. Grounder to second, flip to second for the first out, but the throw to first not in time. So Molly Donahue will get on due to a fielder's choice. But Natalie Rose, who was at first, gets put out at second on the little flip to Becca Doyle, straddling the base. Number 9 hitter Taylor Gotti, the lefty, stands in. Gotti got a single on her first pitch, first at-bat of the day. Now she's seen a total of 2, and her count's 0 for 1. Bunt gets popped up into the fence. That's 0-2 to Gotti. Our backstop cam there, you see, getting you a good glimpse. Been getting a lot of action on the day, as we also then have our camera down the third baseline. But a lot of action, a lot of foul balls getting sent back to the screen. First ball of the at-bat, it's 1-2. Gotti stands with the bat on her shoulder, now lifts, looks to the pitch, but almost wears that one. Defensive roll gets her out of the way. And she goes to a 2-2 count. Hugs the plate to get extension all the way to the outside. That one came in off speed and just hung out there. Almost had a chance to maybe reach for that one, but Gotti holds back and moves to a full count. Taylor will set, looks to try and get on base. She protects herself by sending that one into foul territory. One out in the bottom of the third. 3-2 count to the 9-hitter Gotti. She ropes one to center field, but only making a couple moves back. And then a step to her right is Christina Trindle, who will easily make the grab. That one was hit hard and looked like it might have had a chance to carry towards the fence, but right there is the spot to make the play. Trindle just had to adjust herself a little bit. So we move back to the top of the lineup to Julie Moon. Or Jamie Moon, excuse me. And Moon fouls it off the backstop. Jamie had a single in the first. Would eventually come around to score. She grounded out to second for her second time up in the first inning. She's now down to 0-2. Two outs here in the bottom of the third. It's an 0-2 count. Not swinging at the pitch low. Goes to 1-2. Over at first base, it's Molly Donahue. She is the lone base runner at the moment for the Pioneers. Lucen Clark is tied at 6 with George Fox. This could be the first scoreless inning if the Bruins can't get one. That one hit sharply towards the viewer over down the third base line. Almost caught up with head football coach Chris Salagis over there watching the game. That one hangs in the air. Will it be enough? It will be. That one hung in the air, and just slapping it right back towards the mound was Moon. Denbecker was able to get a glove on it, but it couldn't grab it. It just slowly rolled towards second then, and the shortstop, Chris, was able to pick it up and fire it at first, but they weren't able to get it there in time to catch Moon running towards first. Donahue will move to second on the hit, and she will get pinch run for by Megan Andre. Andre was our home run ball search and rescue person earlier on outside the fence. She'll come in to pinch run for Donahue. Up next, Basilio. Who's been on base twice, scored twice, and got her first career home run as a Pioneer back in the second. She won't swing at the off-speed pitch outside the plate. It's 1-1. Caitlin, ready, sends this one opposite field, and right there to make the grab, Shelby Brisky will finish the inning. The Pioneers leave 2 runners on base and do not take the lead back and have a first scoreless inning of the day. They leave 2 runners on base, get 2 hits in the inning. No errors for the Bruins, no runs scored in that bottom half of the third. When we come back, Ryan Goff will take over and bring this one the rest of the way. It's just the second game of the doubleheader here between Lewis and Clark and George Fox on this beautiful Sunday. We're all tied up at 6, and we will return when we come back here on PioStream.
We start the top of the 4th inning from Portland Houston Sports Complex as George Fox and Lewis and Clark knotted up at 6 apiece. George Fox up to bat in the Navy Blues with Bethany Chris leading things off, and the 1-0 pitch sent foul. It'll be Chris, Ward, and Brisky due up in the top half of the 4th inning, and has been a very entertaining and scoreful game, which was much like yesterday. Joey referred to the difference in the 3-2 win for George Fox in game number 1 Saturday, and then the 14-11 game number 2 that Lewis and Clark won. Earlier today, George Fox a 9-2 winner, and looking for the series victory with a win in game number 2 on this Sunday that has also been very sun-filled. No real cloud and or rain problems to deal with, and the best softball weather we've had at the Houston Sports Complex this season. George Fox played in Portland yesterday, but was the home team on the same field just because originally the schedule had a home and home between these two. As a 2-2 pitch from Rose, out one in the strike zone and lobbed out to right field. Underneath it easily is Raelia for out number 1. It is Senior Day 2011. The seniors are in the field, most of which on infield soil, as you have Michaela Satter at third, Jamie Moon at second, and Molly Donahue at first. Not anymore, though, with the change. She started at first, but Donahue now has been replaced by Basilio, as Caitlin Basilio comes over from left field, where Megan Andre sits now. But Donahue did start at first. Paige McFeely, the pitcher, started the first game. She has not played in game number 2 with Rose on the pitching duties. The second pitch into Ward is another ball. 2-0 the count to Ward. Couple of singles so far with a run scored. Rose with a pink headband delivers the 2-0, that one high as well. Rose took a shot to the shoulder last time we were out here a week ago against Puget Sound on the Saturday that had Puget Sound here, and then on Sunday Pacific Lutheran, but she fought through it the next day and sends in her first strike against Ward to make the count 3-1. First game, Ward went 1 for 4 with an RBI. And now Rose delivers that 3-1 outside corner. Strike 2, full count. Be nice to see Rose recover from the early deficit to get the second out of the inning in 2 batters. A 3-2 from Rose. That one slapped Rose off the hop, gets it, and pitches it over to Basilia. Wasn't a strikeout, but it'll work. And out number 2. Number 5 hitter steps in right field, Shelby Brisky. Is Spanaway Washington senior, the only senior for George Fox. She fouls off the first pitch. 0 for 1 in game number 2, walking and scoring in the first. And then in the second, flying out to right field to end the inning. And Rose pops that one for ball number 1. 6 runs on 6 hits and an error for George Fox. The Pios have put up 9 hits already for 6 runs and an error themselves. As Rose sees Brisky foul that one left for strike number 2. 3 runs scored in the first inning from George Fox on 2 hits, and with Strand too. A couple of RBI from Doyle, and then Davidson scored a run as well. On 3 hits in the second, George Fox scored 2 runs. And that one hops off the dirt and into the face of the umpire behind home plate. 2-2. And like Joey mentioned, Lewis and Clark held to the first scoreless inning of the game in the bottom of the third. As George Fox got 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the third. Lewis and Clark, nice 5-run first inning. As good as their 7-run 5th inning yesterday in game number 2. And Brisky awaits the 2-2 from Rose. That one pops out, sailing toward right. Might stay in the park, but Rail, can't get over there fast enough as it goes out of the fence. And Brisky will come back again. Jessica Holland in her 3rd season as the head coach of the George Fox Bruins. As John Holland and Dave Kelmer, Ty Nicholson on our assistant staff. All assistants in the coaching boxes out in the field for George Fox. And now a 3-2 count to Brisky. Looking for the 3rd out, and 3 batters up high though, and walks Brisky the second time Brisky has taken a free walk over to first. Rose came in with 62 walks on the year to 47 strikeouts. She's worked a lot of innings, 133 innings pitched for the sophomore from West Lynn. And she sends the first pitch that's hit by Davidson, sailing out to right field. And despite the walk, Rose gets out of the inning easily. First scoreless inning for George Fox. As Davidson fouls out to rail, Lewis and Clark comes up to bat. In the bottom of the 4th, the Pios will have DiVincenzi, Raelia, and Mullins, the 3-4-5 hitters, looking to take the lead in a 6-6 game. George Fox, Lewis and Clark tied at 6, heading to the bottom of the 4th on PioStream. comes out to start her fourth inning of work on the pitching duties for George Fox. She's allowed 9 hits so far, and 6 runs have come across on her watch. 3, 4, 5 hitters start things off for Lewis and Clark, with Chenzi, the shortstop, stepping in and seeing a high pitch for ball number 1. Steven Chenzi, the leading hitter for Lewis and Clark. Just that batting average has stair-stepped up all year long. 25 RBI now with their score in the first inning, and 19 extra base hits with a 387 average heading in to the weekend, and another hit for Chenzi. That time a single to the left side. And the leadoff runner for Lewis and Clark starts things off on a positive note. And Caitlin Raley, I'm hoping to continue that as she picked up her first hit last time up. Not of the game, but of the day. I guess both, really. A single to right field. That might get Steven Chenzi to third if she did the same thing, but instead shows bunts and fouls off. Strike 1. Really cool festivities for Senior Day at the beginning of the game. And I saw those framed pictures that each of the 4 seniors received sitting out in the bleachers. Very nice, matted and everything. Steven Chenzi takes off on strike 2 to Raelia. Almost slid past the base, but holds on with her left-handed fingernails. And in for the stolen base. And to second is Steven Chenzi. Gets into scoring position on her 5th stolen base of the year. The 0-2 to Raelia outside. And ball 1. It's been a lot of fun experimenting with the PioStream capabilities and liking the way things are shaken up today. As the 1-2 to Raelia, punched and foul left side. We're able to add some of the graphical features that we've been trying to figure out all year long. And then with the advent of internet, new to Houston Sports Complex this year, the interweb has just shown up, which Kristen much likes too, because she can get the stories up on the web faster. And 1-2 to Raelia again, that one low in the dirt, ball 2. Dendecker fakes towards second, keep Caroline close. Good work by Caitlin working this count. Trying to get Lewis and Clark back out in front. Had the 5-3 lead. Now we've been tied pretty much the entire way, though Lewis and Clark did lead 6-5 at the end of 2. But George Fox answered right in the top of the 3rd. Full count now for Caitlin Raelia. With the shades on, Dendecker looks in and delivers. Full count pitch, and foul off quickly toward the third base side. That's the dugout in which George Fox occupies. Raelia with 17 RBI this season. Gets that one over the head of the shortstop. She might get another. That one rolling between the 2 fielders and left. Steven Chenzi stands up and crosses the plate. And Lewis and Clark, for the 3rd time today, has a lead. This 7-6. After falling behind in that count, Caitlin Raelia does a very nice job fighting it off and getting an RBI single to left field. Keeps the out column at 0 and brings up Jatim Mullins, the designated player in the 5 spot. And Mullins from Dendecker swings and misses on the first pitch, strike 1. She struck out last time up, did Mullins. For out number 2 of the 2nd inning after scoring and singling in the 1st. Shows bunt down low. Dan Decker with the 1-1. Punched up and off the pole of the backstop behind home plate. Strike number 2. A lot of sunglasses today. Cups full of sunflower seeds to our right. This is nice. Nearly lawn chair style bleachers that occupy the softball field at Houston Sports Complex. Bring your own chair, get your own real estate on which to sit. Foul off to the left side, and Mullins keeps it at 1-2. Satter is on deck, a senior. She'll come up 1 for 2. They have a 2 RBI single in the first. With none away and a 1-2 count, Dendecker will deliver to Mullins. Runner on first. Mullins again fouled, just ahead of it once more. George Fox with Kayla Ward at third base and Bethany Chris at short. Chris came in the leading hitter for George Fox, but hasn't had a great Sunday until the start of this game when she homered to bring 2 runs in. Mullins reached for that one, popped it up, and it's going to be an easy catch for Brodus just down the third baseline for out number 1. And that brings up Satter, we mentioned 1 for 2 with a stolen base, RBI, 2 of them total, and then a run scored. In that first game, Chris went 1 for 3 and had a couple of flyouts. Reached on an error. Went 1 for 4, actually. Did score a couple of runs, but didn't have the RBI that you've come to expect from Bethany Chris with 22 this season. And the 0-1. Satter pulled it back and then swings on a ball that goes out towards center field, but Trindle able to run underneath it for out number 2. And 2 batters down now with a runner on first for Lewis and Clark and Natalie Rose. Rose, pitcher, batting 7th. A fly out and ground out in her first 2 at-bats, trying to prevent being the 3rd out after Lewis and Clark has gained the lead. Bottom of the 4th. Aurelia at first. The righty Rose smacks it right back to Dendecker, her pitching counterpart. The throw over to first. Davidson has it. And the 4th inning comes to a close on the 1-3 ground out by Natalie Rose. Through 4, Lewis and Clark does get a run, a much-needed run for the Pios. On a couple of hits, they do strand a runner. And we move to the top of the 5th for George Fox. The Bruins have the 7-8-9 hitters Doyle, Brodus, and Chavez. When we return to Portland, Lewis and Clark 7, George Fox 6 on PioStream. A 7-6 lead for Lewis and Clark. Through 4 innings, we start the top of the 5th in Portland. George Fox up to bat with Becca Doyle leading off. The right-hander against Rose, and she swings on the first pitch. And that one floats foul left side. Doyle so far 2 for 2 with a 2 RBI single in the first. She also scored a run in the third on an error by the shortstop Caroline DiVincenzi. And sees the 0-1 pitch aimed for ball number 1. Rose the 1-1. And fouled off to the left. And gets some groans from the crowd as it appeared to make contact with someone's vehicular conveyance. To which the umpire remarks, "My car has never been hit by a ball. Ever." Hopefully his wasn't out in deep left field. The 1-2 pitch now 2-2 as that one is ball outside. And now Rose sends the 2-2. Again off the end of the bat and out of play to the right. Brodus to follow on deck, and Chavez in the hole, the number 9 hitter. Now one down the low, full count. Well, unlike the first 3 innings that I did in the first game, George Fox and Lewis and Clark seem to be teeing off on the first couple of pitches each time. A lot more deep counts, including 2 full counts that we saw in the 4th. That one pelted out to center field, and it was off the heel of the glove by Taylor Gotti and dropped. She was underneath it, maybe had to take a step or 2, but Doyle will reach instead on the error out in center field. I don't know how many games Taylor started out in center field or played out there, period. We've seen her a lot in left field. But with Megan Andre assigned to left, Taylor is playing out in center field, and Gotti, with the error, gets the first base runner on for George Fox in the top of the 5th, with the catcher now, number 8 hitter Hillary Brodus, stepping in, a Dallas, Oregon native. Dallas is southwest of the Portland area. As the 0-1 bunted down in front of Rose, she gets it and flings it over on the hop. Moon tried to turn around and take because she was pulled from the bag. And now 2 runners get on for George Fox. In what have been somewhat 2 possible outs for the Pios. Dallas just down I-5 and then cut through Salem to the west on Highway 18. Near the Basket Slough National Wildlife Refuge. So a hit for Brodus to get her on board. And Chavez sees first pitch ball from Rose. Felicia Chavez, a California native, has a good opportunity to pick up her 3rd RBI of the season. Had 1 to double her total in the first game today. And she bunts it down. Statter off the hop. Has it. Will throw to first. And not in time to Moon, who is covering for Basilio playing the bunt. And like that, bases loaded for George Fox in the top of the 5th inning. Credit the Bruins. They've done a great job of answering every time the Pioneers have seemed to take control of the game. Back to the top of the order, but before that, Rose having a discussion with Coach Mandy Hill at the circle. Ari Wilkes, the catcher, their helmet on top of her head. As Rose hasn't been accustomed to this kind of situation where she has left early in games yesterday. The last start went a complete game, 6 innings, despite the loss to George Fox, a 3-2 defeat, and only allowed 4 hits. Played well, facing 24 batters. And now in a unfavorable situation where she has the bases loaded with no outs. The top of the 5th. First pitch strike. the designated player, Nicole Renteria. First game, Renteria had an RBI. They doubled in the fifth inning, but that time flies out for out number 1. Good break for Lewis and Clark. They needed an out. Now brings up the center fielder, Chris Trindle. So far in this game, a strikeout and a couple of lineouts. As she puts the first pitch into right field, and Raelia has to give chase. 1 run will come, a second easily on a double on the first pitch swinging from Chris Trindle. And George Fox recaptures the lead in the top of the 5th. Now up 8-7. How about Trindle with an RBI double? Brings across 2 runs after going 0 for 3 in the game so far. And keeps the runners moving now as Chavez is to third base, and now Trindle on second with dangerous Bethany Crisp after a home run in the second, flew out in the 4th to right field, and Rose delivers that one off the end of the bat over the mid of Moon at second base. Run scores, and Trindle advances to third. The third RBI of game number 2 for Bethany Crisp. Second time that Chavez has come across. And a 3-run top of the 5th so far. Reaching on the bunt attempt is Ward. And she misses. Runner Chris from first to second. Ward yet to score an RBI in game number 2. Did score 1 in the 5th inning of today's first game. She fouls the second pitch to fall behind 0-2 in the count. Chris, a 3 RBI game. Brings her total up on the season to 25. Came in as the RBI leader, much like Caroline DiVincenzi for Lewis and Clark, and now both those young ladies are 25 on the year, halfway through the second contest today. 1-2 count to Ward with runners on third and second. Outside pitch for ball number 2. Inning started with Doyle reaching on an error, dropped ball in center field, and Rhoda Chavez with a couple of singles. Renteria with an out, and then Trindle, first pitch RBI double, followed by Chris's RBI single to shallow right field. Count goes full to the cleanup hitter, Kayla Ward. Rose steps up and delivers. Outside, high, and walks another. Second walks batter in as many innings for Natalie Rose, and the second time this inning that the bases have been loaded for George Fox. As the 8th batter to be faced is the right fielder, Shelby Brisky. As Rose has a quick pep talk with her teammate, slaps hands. So many opportunities for the Pios to hold on to what was a 7-6 lead at the beginning of this inning, but a drop ball, a lobbing hit by George Fox over the glove of Jamie Moon. And the first pitch to Brisky is fouled into the cage. Bases loaded. No one pitch to Brisky. Down low, ball 2. Evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. A lot of support coming from the Pios dugout, trying to get their girls off the field. Outside, that is ball 2. As Brisky, a couple of walks and an 0 for 1 hitting day, flying out to right in the second. Hit an RBI double in the first game, but she might not get a pitch to hit as Rose keeps things outside. And now the sophomore slapping the ball harshly back into her mitt as she looks down to get ready for the 3-1 delivery with the bases loaded. That one's in the zone. Strike 2. Cleaning of the Dell computer to our right. Solid maintenance from the SID, Krista Martin. She watches her Pios with a 3-2 count. Foul another one up and over. And so Brisky with the ninth hitter of the inning, Davidson, on deck. Has taken a couple cuts at some pitches from Rose. Can she get another RBI? Slap to left field, but foul. That one a little bit straighter. It was a very, very good hit in a 3-2 count. It's been a lot of work retrieving all the fouls, and then the home runs to boot. You have pretty much self-maintained retrieval. You gotta find one or two cousins that are willing to come out and be a ball boy. Put that one on the to-do list for 2012. As that one skipped and gets past Wilkes, the run comes in anyway, as it was ball 4. And a walked-in RBI. Rose has thrown back-to-back walks. Trindle, who hit the RBI double, comes across to score her first run of the game. And 4 runs have plated in inning number 5. George Fox 10 and Lewis and Clark 7. Ward on second. And Chris, the runner, at third. Wilkes pumps over towards Chris, but does not throw. As the first pitch to Keeran Davidson, the sophomore first baseman, is a ball. And Rose delivers the next one, but that one zooms foul. Davidson flyouts in each the third and the fourth after walking a run in the first. And that time fouled off to right side again. Very big pitch upcoming. If Rose can get Davidson for her third strikeout of the game, that opens things up with force outs at all the bags on the next batter, which would be rounding the order with Doyle, who's already on the on-deck circle, reaching on an error and scoring to lead off the inning. A 1-2 pitch to Davidson. Swung on and fouled, this time to the left. Four hits, 2 walks, and the error, along with Renteria, who recorded the out as the fourth batter. The story at the top of the fifth. Yesterday was very lucrative for Lewis and Clark in the second game's fifth inning when the Pios put up 7. But on Sunday, a reversal of fortune, fouled off again. To Tim Mullins, Caitlin Ralia, some back-to-back singles. And then some miscues by the Bruins brought Ralia and Mullins in to score. One more error, and it was Molly Donahue across. This time flapped out to right field, and this could score 3 all the way to the track. Picking it up, Gotti relays it in, 2 across. Here comes the third. The ball didn't even get inside the pitching circle. On a 1-out, 3 RBI double from Carrie Ann Davidson, her first hit of the game. And Lewis and Clark is in trouble, and that means Paige McFeely, the senior, will come out to spell Natalie Rose. Natalie Rose, her day is done. After Davidson brings 3 across, we take a break as we are in the top of the 5th. 7 runs have scored in the 5th for George Fox, and the Bruins lead Lewis and Clark 13-7 with 1 out in the top of the 5th on PioStream. The senior Paige McFeely takes over for Natalie Rose, getting her second tour of work on this Sunday afternoon in Portland, as George Fox explodes with 7 runs in the 5th inning. The latest 3 being plated on the hit from Davidson, who now stands on second base. As the second time up in the inning for Doyle. She's the first batter that McFeely will see in game number 2. Game 1 stats. McFeely with 7 innings and allowed 9 runs against 39 batters and 13 hits. Struck out 1, walked 2. Doyle, in the first contest, went 2 for 3. Against McFeely, that whiffs on the 2-1 pitch. Even the count at 2 apiece. Davidson with her 9th extra base hit of the year. Scoring those runs, and then off-speed pitch just completely fools Doyle for out number 2. And that brings up the catcher, Hilly Brodus. So 11 earned runs allowed by Natalie Rose, 13 total on 11 hits and 4 in the 3rd. Rose didn't have her best control game, walking 5 batters this afternoon and striking out 2. Allowed a home run in the 2nd inning to the same batter to whom she hit with a pitch in the 1st. The 0-1 pitch slowly to DiVincenzi, a crossover to Basilio, and finally, the top of the 5th inning has come to a close as the Bruins do solid damage on 5 hits and an error, and only leaving 1. George Fox scores 7 runs in the top of the 5th inning and enjoy a 13-7 lead as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Lewis and Clark looking to get back into it. We'll have Megan Andre, Taylor Gotti, and Jamie Moon due up, the scheduled hitters in the bottom of the 5th. George Fox 13, Lewis and Clark 7. Back in a moment to Portland on PioStream. back in Portland, Houston Sports Complex. Ryan Goff, along with Joey Keeran, Kristen Martin, Fiona Corner. 13-7, George Fox leads after a 7-run top of the fifth. We move to the bottom of the fifth. And the first at-bat of the afternoon for Megan Andre, the sophomore from Kelleysville, California. A 174 hitter this season. And a couple of RBI to her credit. One of those came yesterday in the 7-run fifth inning that Lewis and Clark put up in the second of two. So Lewis and Clark, despite George Fox giving them a dose of their own medicine, would like to follow the prescription that worked for them yesterday. As Andre splits the first two pitches for a 1-1 count. Andre followed by Gotti and Moon due up. Pye was looking for win number 3 this season in conference, and that one fouled over the woodshed in left. If you've never been to a game in Portland prior, measurements of the softball field at Lewis and Clark are 200 to each fence with 210 to dead center field. To each corner, 200, and then 210 to dead center. As the 1-2 delivery pulsed out into right field and bounces in front of a streaking right fielder, Brisky. That gets some much-needed applause as Lewis and Clark fans not enjoy what they saw. In the top half of this inning, Megan Andre, the leadoff hitter, is on with a single. It's chain link fence that's covered in a black tarp that has orange plastic at the top. And then the scoreboard is out in right field. Orange itself with black lettering and white trim on the strike, ball, out, etc. indicators. Home of the Lewis and Clark Pioneers in script above. And then behind us is the baseball field, which is vacant today. Last week we were doing double duty. Andre a step ahead of the throw over to Davidson from Brodus, the catcher. And Andre back as Gotti has found herself behind in the count 0-2 with a single and a fly out to her credit in her first two at-bats. Then Decker, the pitcher, delivers outside, and Gotti holds. Still contend that the trees out across the panoramic of this park is one of the best views that you could have. And it complicates things with the home runs that Joey went through in the first 3 innings of this game. It was the power party that sent everything out to the thicket. Looked much like his golf game yesterday. It was funny, too, because we didn't have a broadcast scheduled here because Lewis and Clark was set to be out in Newburgh. And with the weather that was here yesterday, especially on the east side of Portland, as Gotti sees the 1-2 pitch outside low. They went out to the east side of Portland, closer to the Gresham area, and it was rainy and drizzly closer here to Palatine Hill. The weather was actually pretty good yesterday. And Joey dredged through about 15 holes of soggy golf. The 2-2 escalated out into center field, and underneath it is Trindle for out number 1. Andre, the base runner for Lewis and Clark, stays at first. But I will say this. It's been a lot of fun to experiment with the PioStream. Now that we had the high-speed internet, we started off the first game for PioStream doing it on a wireless laptop card like a cell phone provider card, and we only could do a static cam and whatnot just because of the lack of bandwidth, if you will. As the leadoff hitter, in terms of the order, the number 1 hitter, Jamie Moon, steps in as the 3rd hitter of this inning, and she sees the first pitch a strike. 2 singles to her credit today, 2 for 3 is Moon. And that one inside gets her scooting back for ball number 1. But I mean, we even did PA today. We pulled out all the stops for Senior Day 2011. And so far on the feedback meter, which is pretty much Kristen's cell phone. Things have been going pretty well, which we like to hear. Throw after the second ball, and Andre is dead to right, thrown out from Brodus to Doyle at second base. And 2 are away in the bottom half of the fifth. And now a 2-1 pitch upcoming to Moon. She swings on it and gets it right past the third baseman for a 2-out single to get another base runner on for the Pios. Nice hit for Moon, her third single of this game and her fifth of the doubleheader. That caught stealing by Megan Andre, first time this season that Andre's been caught in 3 attempts. And the first pitch to the number 2 hitter, Caitlin Basilio, is in the dirt for ball 1. Bass has got a couple of runs, including her first career home run in the second inning. Congratulations to Caitlin. That one out to left field. And gone. Had a great shot of it, too, and she'll continue hitting the ball nicely. And she's able to pound this one out to right field. And the 2-out rally started to generate for Lewis and Clark. Back-to-back hits. Moon over to second, Basilio to first, and I was going to say DiVincenzi steps up, because last time I gave her a lot of credit in a situation like this. Good things didn't happen. Dendecker in the circle, throws, and DiVincenzi sends it right to the right fielder, Shelby Brisky, to end the inning. I guess I couldn't prevent it nonetheless, as now DiVincenzi is 2 for 4 with a fly-out ground-out. A couple runs, a double and a single, and an RBI, but just ends the inning. Could not find green grass to lay that ball, and Lewis and Clark will strand a couple as they pick up 3 hits in the bottom of the 5th inning and leave a couple of runners on. No errors. George Fox, with a 13-7 lead, goes back to work in the top of the 6th inning, as we expect to see Chavez, Renteria, and Trindle when we return to Portland on PioStream. The left fielder, Alicia Chavez, a freshman, steps in. The left-hander to face Paige McFeely for Lewis and Clark, as George Fox is at bat with a 13-7 lead, and quickly will have one out as Wilkes, without shedding the mask, picks up out number 1 of this, the top of the 6th inning. Lewis and Clark behind 13-7. George Fox on the heels of a 7-run 5th inning will now send up the top of the order hitter, Renteria. And she's a slap hitter, runs out of the box with strike number 1. Designated player at the top of the order. An 0 for 4 afternoon so far. And she gets a piece of that one. DiVincenzi off the glove, picks up barehanded and fires to Basilio. but not in time, as you expect the leadoff hitter to be quick, and that is in fact what Renteria did, and it turns out that Steven Senzi not fielding it cleanly cost her the out. The first hit for Renteria in the second game. Her first since an RBI triple in the sixth inning of the first game. Chris Trindle, the center fielder, sees the first pitch strike from McFeely. McFeely on in relief after Natalie Rose went 4 1/3, and all the stats we read off earlier were correct except for 6 walks, as opposed to the 5 we originally thought. With a runner on first, Trindle sees the count even at 1 apiece. Final games of 2011 for both these teams. Northwest Conference standings have Linfield at top with a 25-1 record. As that one slapped right back to McFeely, she just turns and goes to Basilio at first for out number 1. And by out number 1, I mean number 2. And the runner, Renteria, advances to second. Bethany Chris steps in. Pacific Lutheran has a 20-4 mark, is second in the Northwest Conference, and then Whitworth and Willamette each with 15 wins on third and fourth, respectively. Down low, gets away from Wilkes, so the runner, Renteria, advances to third. Pass ball. Chris, a home run in the game, has been hit by a pitch in a 2-for-3 afternoon with a flyout in the fourth, a total of 3 RBI to her credit. Pacific from Forest Grove sits in fifth with an under 500 record, 12-14. Puget Sound is 9-17. As Chris gets that one popped up out to right, and underneath it for the out is Raelia to end the inning and leave the runner stranded. Renteria gets on and moves over to third quickly, but the inning is over on the pop-up to right field in a battle of the bottom two in the Northwest Conference. George Fox with a 5-22 mark. Lewis and Clark 2-25 will head to the bottom of the sixth inning. George Fox leading Lewis and Clark 13-7 on PioStream. We start off the bottom of the sixth inning with Caitlin Raelia leading off for Lewis and Clark, and she takes the first pitch from Melissa Dendecker and fouls it off third base side. Raelia followed by Mullins and Satter on a day that has seen Raelia, after starting off 0-for through the first game and then the first inning of game number 2 with back-to-back singles in the second and fourth. The junior sees the 0-1 offering, stopped by the glove of Ward, picks it up, recollects and throws to Davidson for the first out. Nice play at third by the freshman Kayla Ward, and one is away. To Tim Mullins, the designated player, a strikeout on a 1-for-3 day. Fouled it off behind her for out number 1 of the fourth inning last time up. And a lot of sisters who have played in subsequent years. Tim's had 2 older sisters play on the softball team. One of the seniors today, Jamie Moon, had sisters play, or a sister play on this team. 2 balls to Mullins to lead things off, and then fouls this one back. Was it Tim who scared you? We can't even remember who it was, but in the second inning, a ball that was fouled over the backstop crashed about 2 inches in front of Joey's face when he was standing on the left side of the softball box that we have behind home plate. We're not directly behind home plate. We don't have the same view that you have behind home plate. We're shifted off to the right slightly. I'd say just a couple of feet off the right side of the left-handed batter's box as Mullins sees the count go full. And Kristen sits to our right running today. She's running the stats and the scoreboard. And, Tim takes the 3-2 pitch right off of her left knee, but seems unfazed as she scaffers down to first. Yeah, unfazed completely. Hit by the pitch. One runner on with 1 out, and Michaela Satter on senior day making what could be close to her final at-bat. We are in the bottom of the 6th. Satter looks toward the pitcher. Dendecker and swung late on that one, popped it up, and that one cascades over to the shortstop, tracking towards second base. Chris makes the catch, and 2 are away on the first pitch swinging Michaela Satter. In this contest, 1 for 4 now. And Paige McFeely up to bat after she took over for Rose on the pitching duties. She swings on the first one, and that one gets over the mitt of the first baseman, Davidson, but foul. As she did bat in the lineup to open things up, led off with a single in her first game, and then went 2 for 3 in the contest total. Did McFeely. They actually talked about it in our introductions of the seniors of how her appearances at the plate have been few and far between throughout her career, as McFeely has been a 4-year player for the Pioneers and has her best season to date entered the weekend at .375 batting average. Her career has been about a .205 hitter. Has pitched nearly 400 innings as a Lewis and Clark Pioneer. Mullins goes on the ball to McFeely, and with a 2-out stolen base for Mullins, a runner moves to second. Her 5th successful stolen base of the year. McFeely on the 1-2 pops out to Chris at short. Barely had to move, and the end is expired. Lewis and Clark, with no hits, no runs, no errors, do strand 1 as Mullins left after she was hit by the pitch. And the Pios will go back to defense, hoping to keep George Fox's 4, 5, 6 hitters off home plate. Ward, Brisky, and Davidson. When we return, George Fox to bat with a 13-7 lead over Lewis and Clark in the top of the 7th. That is next on PioStream. Start of the 7th inning, George Fox 13-7 with the lead. As the first pitch swung on and pelted out to left field, Andre bobbles it, trying to field it from her left field position, and a leadoff single for the number 4 hitter, Kayla Ward. Third hit of the day for Ward. The third baseman. And now Taylor Whitmore, the sophomore, will come in to pinch run. Brisky up. 3 walks on an 0-for-1 day for Brisky. And McFeely deals her a first pitch strike. McFeely, a senior, all of whom are on the field, sans Molly Donahue, who started the game. McFeely came in relief, but have a lot of work to do to the seniors to try to get a victory on senior day. We need to hold George Fox scoreless in this inning and then put up 6 to force extras, 7 to win in the bottom of the 7th. McFeely 0-2 to Brisky. Oh, Brisky thought about it. Now easily Whitmore will move over to second on the pass ball. Lewis and Clark 3-2 on the year when scoring 7 runs, well, between 6 and 9, but could be in danger of that record going to 500. As off the end of the bat, that one loped out to center field. Gotti chasing and gets the mid underneath, sliding to the ground. Another dazzling catch. We've seen many in the game, and for Gotti, I have to give her credit for kind of making up for the error that started off the 7-run 5th inning for George Fox when she maybe had to move a step and a half and dropped it. She makes a nice grab running to her left for the first out of this inning. Now DiVincenzi not able to catch up to the Davidson hit to the left side that gets Whitmore to third. And Davidson, a first pitch single. Nice day for Davidson. Back-to-back hit. She had a 3-run RBI double in the 5th, and now with a single to left here in the 7th. And that brings up Becca Doyle, the junior. Lewis and Clark, in fact, 2-3, the record I mentioned, or 3-2, excuse me, the record I mentioned when scoring between 6 and 9 runs, but the only time that they did score 7 previously, they were the loser. As McFeely delivers the 1-0, that one's fouled back. Lewis and Clark had the lead in the contest through 4 innings. Usually to the Pioneers' advantage, as they're 5-4 when doing so. After that 7-run 5th inning, nothing was safe for Lewis and Clark. That one, DiVincenzi diving and cannot get it before it escapes to left field. And an RBI single for Doyle. 3rd RBI for the Portland junior. And advances Davidson to second base. 1 out, the top of the 7th, 14-7. George Fox leads with a runner on first and second. Outside pitch. Ball number 1 to Brodus. The catcher for George Fox. 1 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. Scored a run in that 5th. And McFeely delivers, and that one slapped right back up the middle. Might not score, but Gotti bobbled it. Now it will. Definitely coming in for a run is Brisky. make that Davidson. The other runners just take the base. As Brodus now on first, and Doyle on second in a 15-7 game. It'll be interesting to see how the dean of Lewis and Clark pitchers, Paige McFeely, deals with a couple of runs up against her in the top of the 7th inning. George Fox with 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. And sandwiched between 2 scoreless 4th and 6th innings, were 7 runs in the 5th, and put up 2 in the top of the 7th. And now 16 hits on the scoreboard to 1 error for George Fox. Pio 7 runs, 14 hits, and 2 errors. And up until recently, the Pios had even more hits on the scoreboard than George Fox. The Pios were 3 games above 500 when doing so, but not the case anymore. 1-1 the count to Chavez. Flew out behind home plate to the catcher Wilkes last time up, and she fouls that one off and out of play, make it a 1-2 count. Alyssa Dendecker will come up in the bottom of the 7th, we suspect, to try to look for her 3rd win of the year. Dendecker took the loss in the 2nd game yesterday. Grounded in front of home plate, McFeely for ball number 2. We will have baseball next Saturday on PioStream. McFeely's 2-2, and that one is strike number 3. It took a while for Chavez to realize it. Now she is down on McFeely's 2nd strikeout. And 2 are away. Top of the order, Renteria. And she swings on the first pitch, gets it past the second baseman, Moon. Gotti on top of it right away, wants to throw toward home, and cut off by Basilio, who thought about pucking it back over to DiVincenzi, who's covering second, but will not. And Renteria, an RBI single for George Fox, scoring Doyle from second, and now Brodus stands on second with Renteria at first, and the center fielder Trindle stepping in. A 3-game set with PLU on tap for baseball starting Friday. No PioStream coverage for the doubleheader on the 22nd, but on the 23rd we will have the single game that starts at noon. And strike 1 into Trindle, 1-1 count. 7th batter faced in the inning, no, at number 8 by Lewis and Clark. And a 3-run 7th so far, still 2 runners on and 2 out. McFeely winds up, and that one an easy play for Moon. Scoops it up at second and throws over to Basilio at first. Damage done by George Fox. Makes it a 9-run deficit against the Pios, as Lewis and Clark allows 5 hits, and George Fox leaves 2 on, scores 3 runs on no errors. And with a 16-7 lead, the Bruins will take the field trying to win the series from Lewis and Clark and get their 6th conference win of the year. Pios, to prevent it, will need a big start from Andre, Gotti, and Moon due up in the bottom of the 7th when we return to Portland on PioStream. The Pios down to their last 3 outs of 2011. As Megan Andre, the sophomore, will step in against Dendecker, the pitcher for George Fox. Lewis and Clark trailing 16-7. Andre's first at bat came in the 5th, and a single before being caught stealing for the second out of the inning. Headed into today, a 174 hitter, and she sees 2 balls past her to begin things. Scotty is in the on-deck circle, and then you have Moon coming up at the top of the order. Defensive substitution, Kelsey Buswell in at catcher for Hillary Brodus, as the batter Andre fouls it off for Lewis and Clark, and now 2-1. Well, 14 runs yesterday for the Pioneers. Offensive explosion helped fuel them to a win. Still picked it up by 3, but for their 8th win of the year, their most in 7 years. Pioneers and second-year head coach Shauna Phelps. I'm excited to see what they can do in the offseason to try to pick up some new recruits. And you have 2 very big pieces of the infield going away for Lewis and Clark on senior day, with third baseman Michaela Satter and second baseman Jamie Moon playing their final contest. We've seen them in almost every game this season. Moon has started 38 times in 38 games for Satter, likewise in 36. As ball 4 to Andre puts the leadoff batter on for Lewis and Clark. Just like the bottom of the 5th inning, when she led off with a single, Andre is on and a walk issue to her. For Megan, first time she's walked this season. And Taylor Gotti steps in, the lefty Gotti from Moraga, California. See the high ball 1 from Dendecker. An illegal pitch call will get Andre over to second. Fan shouts out, "Hey, way to get a steal, Meg." That works. Scoring position for Andre. She gets into the runner pose on second. Swung on Gotti, drops it in on the line, but it's foul. I mean, you cannot really see the foul line in the grass toward the left field foul pole as it goes from dirt to grass, but eyeballing it, I would have said yeah. Everyone agrees. Not the case, and instead a 1-1 count for Gotti. That was a lobbing pitch in for a ball. And then you have Paige McFeely, a senior pitcher that will graduate, and Molly Donahue has contributed very nicely in her first year, but really, Coach Felt can find some extra pitchers, and Lewis and Clark won't have to rely on just 2 arms the entire 2012 campaign like they've had to this year. I mean, heading into today, a combined 205 pitches between McFeely and Rose. I mean, obviously you have your starters, but it'd be nice to, if you get in trouble or having an off day, get another arm in there. You had this season for Lewis and Clark only 3 other appearances by any other pitchers, including Caroline DiVincenzi, the shortstop. Check on the runner as Chris fields the hit from Gotti. Throws over to first to get the first out. Andre will get to third base. And with 1 away, Jamie Moon in what could be her final at-bat as a Lewis and Clark Pioneer looks to add to a 3-for-4 performance in this contest. And if so, she might even be able to get another RBI. As Moon in the first contest did not get one. She came in with 13, but gets it over to Ward. Ward bobbled it. Moon might beat it out. She will. They didn't score a run, but Jamie Moon at least gets on base on the Ward error. And only 1 out with Basilio stepping up. DiVincenzi on deck. With a home run, a single, and reaching on an error, a 2-for-2 day for Basilio. And Caitlin gets that one right. Ward gets a second chance, this time fielded cleanly. And the throw over to Davidson gets Basilio for out number 2. Final out, Caroline DiVincenzi with Andre at third and Moon now at second. DiVincenzi from Dendecker, ball 1. George Fox, much improved, we suspect, next year too, with only losing 1 player. Dendecker delivers. DiVincenzi smacks it toward the gap in right field and will score a couple. DiVincenzi trucked it a second and she'll hold up with a stand-up 2 RBI double. Her third RBI of the game, scoring Moon from second and Andre from third. And Jamie Moon, her line, if it stands this way, a 3-for-4 afternoon, scoring 2 runs. And now Caitlin Ralia, a 2-for-4 day for her. Ground out, fly out, 2 singles. Will try to score DiVincenzi from second in a 16-9 game. Dendecker down low, and DiVincenzi's going to go at third, slides, doesn't slide, stands up and gets to third on the stolen base. How about Chenzi with the aggressive base running, and Tristan, the new catcher, Buswell. She didn't bobble it much, if at all. And the 2-0, up the middle, shortstop dive, gets it, throw, not in time. And DiVincenzi is in. 2-out rally for Lewis and Clark. Ralia gets the RBI. And Coach Felt with a 16-10 score will replace Ralia at first base with Mari McClenahan. And what a weekend it was last week for Mari. Her first career hit was an RBI. And she takes over as the pitch runner, with Mullins seeing the first pitch down low. The tying run for Lewis and Clark about on the third, fourth rung of the dugout fence. So by no means Lewis and Clark in a position to close this 6-run deficit, but they could cut it to 4 if Mullins can get a big hit or get McClenahan in and cut it to 5. Dendecker, a quick conference with Coach Holen. And some smiles in the pitching circle as the entire infield joins the conference. And Dendecker, as they're being pretty remarkable in her first 6 innings pitched and seemingly being on her way to an easy 3rd win of the year. I mean, Dendecker has pitched nearly the same amount of innings as our first game starter for George Fox, Hento, but the records vary greatly. 8-13 the record for Hento. She picked up her 9th win earlier. And then 2-13 the record for Dendecker. The 2-out count to Mullins. That one comes up high. Mullins was hit in the left kneecap last time up, like full count pitch. She gets well ahead of this count with the runner on first, 2 away, and takes the strike. Kayla Satter, my prognostication might have been incorrect. The senior in the on-deck circle might get a second chance. I thought she might have seen her last collegiate at bat. Mullins pops that one up. Coming in, the center fielder almost locks it in the sun, but not the case. And for Mack, it'll be 1 batter short. Her senior year is complete, as is 3 others, as Lewis and Clark loses the game. to George Fox. The Bruins win the series. 16-10 the final score. George Fox 16 runs on 17 hits and 2 errors. The Pios score 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning, but come up short. 10 runs on 16 hits and 2 errors. And we'll come back and recap records and everything else, as it's been a fun time bringing you softball throughout the 2011 season and covering these seniors in our first year of PioStream. George Fox 16, Lewis and Clark 10. For everyone, we invite you back. Post-game wrap-up is next on PioStream.
Between here and
The Lewis and Clark Pioneers see Senior Day 2011 end up in a 2-game defeat today in the doubleheader after losing the first contest 9-2, a 16-10 defeat, as Coach Shauna felt her team break down not only today but the season and laugh with the 4 seniors that move on. Can't say enough about Molly Donahue, Paige McFeely, Jamie Moon, and Michaela Satter. As our first year with the PioStream coverage, it was a lot of fun to come out here and start talking with all of those seniors, including Michaela Satter after she had a weekend where she went up to Tacoma and did a great job playing up there. Had a chance to talk to her about how well she was hitting the ball, and she ends in her final game a 1-for-4 game number 2, 1-for-4 with 2 RBI and a run, as a young lady is singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" on our PA system. The other senior starter, Jamie Moon, a 3-for-5 performance today, 2 runs and no RBI, as she finishes her senior campaign. I'd estimate a little bit around that 314 average she had heading into today. That's rounds of applause for the young lady who, as far as I know, is Caitlin Basilio's relative. I don't know who she is, but I remember someone coming up to me last week asking if one of Caitlin's relatives could sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" on the PA, and that dream has come true. Paige McFeely finishes 0-for-1 today, and Molly Donahue likewise as she started the contest. Donahue also did walk in her first at-bat this afternoon. We'll go through the entire Lewis and Clark lineup. Mentioned Moon 3-for-5, Basilio 2-for-5 with 2 runs and an RBI, as Basilio gets her first career home run as a freshman in the 2nd inning. Scored in the first as well, had a single in the 5th inning. Caroline DiVincenzi, another solid performance by the Pio's best hitter, 3-for-5, 3 runs scored and 3 RBI. as Vincenzi, an RBI double, scored 2 in the 7th, and had a single in the first. Her second RBI double of the game in the 7th, because she had one in the first as well. And for Chenzi, she finishes the 2011 campaign with 20-plus extra base hits and 27 RBI this season. Strong performance by Vincenzi. You look at Caroline, 27 RBI total, 12 doubles, a triple, and 7 home runs. And I'm excited to see that junior come back, as one of the seniors will say goodbye to in the 2011 campaign. Caitlin Ralia, 3 for 5 with 2 RBI. Ralia getting an RBI single in the 4th and 1 in the 7th. Jatem Mullins, 1 for 4 with a run scored, and she struck out once. Mullins scoring in the first with a single, was also hit by a pitch. Michaela Satter, mentioned her stat, 1 for 4 with 2 RBI. Natalie Rose, the pitcher, who left after 4 in the 3rd, 1 for 3, hitting the baseball in the 7th spot. Donahue 0 for 1 before being replaced by Megan Andre. A run scored, 1 for 1 at the plate. She walked as well. And Taylor Gotti, 1 for 4. Want to read the season-long stat lines for the seniors. McFeely finishes the season .385 with 5 hits in her senior campaign. Jamie Moon, .333 average, 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs, and 11 RBI. She finishes the year with a .429 on-base percentage, which was the highest for Lewis and Clark, well done by the leadoff hitter. And then Michaela Satter, .293 this year with 17 RBI, 10 extra base hits, including 3 home runs, tied for 3rd most on the team, and 7 doubles. That was second best behind Vincenzi's 12. Molly Donahue, in her first year and only year as the senior, finishes the 2011 campaign, .246 average with 6 RBI, a triple, and a double for her. Looking at the George Fox day, 2 for 4. Went Renteria at the top of the lineup, had an RBI with Trindle going 1 for 6, 2 RBI in the 2nd spot. She finishes with a strikeout and a run scored. Trindle played a nice game, getting her RBI double in the 5th. You have Chris, a 2 for 4 afternoon, including a home run in the 2nd, 3 RBI, 3 runs. Ward, 3 for 4 performance at the cleanup spot, 2 runs scored. She walked as well. Brisky had a 0 for 2 day. She walked 3 times and scored 2 runs. Davidson, 2 for 4, 4 RBI, and a run scored. And Doyle with a 3 for 5 day, 3 RBI, as 3 George Fox Bruins put up a 3-plus RBI day. Doyle, the 3rd of them, with 3 runs scored. 2 for 4 was Brodus, 1 for 1 in the RBI and run columns. And then you have Chavez, a 2 for 5 afternoon, 1 RBI, and 2 runs scored. Dendecker goes complete game, gets the win, improves to 3-13 on the year. And then for the Lewis and Clark Pioneers, Natalie Rose charged with the loss in 4 1/3. Her record goes to 6-16 on the year. Paige McFeely in relief, 2 2/3, 3 runs, 3 of them earned, struck out 2, and allowed 6 hits in 14 batters faced. No save opportunity on the afternoon, as Lewis and Clark on the year finishes 8-31 overall, and over the weekend snapped a 14-game losing streak. Conference mark, a 2-26 finish in the Northwest Conference. They will finish last behind George Fox, who finishes 6-22 and 12-28 overall. Congratulations to the Bruins, winning 3 of their 4 last games of 2011, and big things for them. Shelby Brisky, the only senior graduating from Coach Holan's team. It'll be exciting to see how much progress is made when these two teams meet again 1 year from now. That wraps up the 2011 PioStream softball campaign. We appreciate letting us experiment on some different things, try out some graphics, different camera angles, and be sure to join us for our final Diamond Sports broadcast. That is 1 week from yesterday, coming up this Saturday with a noon start, the third of 3 games to be played between Pacific Lutheran and the home team, the Lewis and Clark Pioneers. Game number 1, a 9-2 win for George Fox, and game number 2, the Bruins claimed the series with a 16-10 victory over Lewis and Clark. Big thanks to Fiona Corner, our camera person, doing a great job on the third base line today. As always, Sports Information Director Kristen Martin for feeding us stats. The Athletic Director for Lewis and Clark College is Clark Yeager. For Joey Keeran, I'm Ryan Goff saying thanks for having fun with us this afternoon, and we'll talk to you again next week for a baseball broadcast and more on your exclusive home for Lewis and Clark Pioneer Athletics, PioStream. Until then, goodbye, everybody.